Devae Tharpe, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Friedberg Comes Alive, the show about Friedberg, North Carolina, which is an unincorporated village at best. It's a community, certainly, and it's on both sides of the Forsyth County, Davidson County line. You're about as close to the county line growing up as there have been in the history of the world. Give us the cross street where you grew up.
It would have been June Lane
Yes?
and Lenore Avenue.
So you remember, good on you. And now, in the years since you moved away, in fact, when did you last live there?
In 1984.
And when did your father has passed, as has my father? Where does your mother live now?
Mom's now in well, technically Reedy Creek.
Okay, my mom is still in Friedberg Estates, and I visit from time to time, and it's still lovely and wonderful. Odd questions. Have you ever been to visited or Friedberg Church, Friedberg Moravian Church?
Many times. A couple of my best friends, Charles and Suzanne Kettner, and of course their mom and dad, Gil and Kenneth. We were always good friends with them growing up. I'm still good friends with Suzanne, but yes, I've been to church with them many times. Youth group, regular service.
Have you ever had a chicken pie, a slice of chicken pie at Friedberg Church?
Absolutely. How can you go there and not?
Well, in the times that I've been, maybe 85% of the times that I've ever been inside the building have been for a chicken pie dinner.
Good stuff. You can't beat a good old Moravian chicken pie.
How old were you
I
when
don't like vegetables, so that's why I like the chicken pie so much.
the charm of this conversation, Devae, is that you and I barely knew each other growing up, correct?
Right.
We would, I mean, you were maybe 7 houses away from mine. You went to a different school. That was the main thing. You went to Parkland High School, but I had transferred over to Reynolds High School and that thing. And so I still had friends, many friends at Parkland, and you were an acquaintance of mine at Parkland, but we barely, you were a girl, I was a boy, so we didn't have a lot of in commonness. But the fact that you grew up in a different school, you went to, what school did you go to growing up?
I'm Salem Baptist.
And do you have still friends, I guess, from Salem Baptist?
Absolutely.
Name your best friend or acquaintance from Salem Baptist.
It would have been Lori George
Good. Tell
at
me what you
Salem.
tell me how old you were, or were you born in Friedberg Estates, or did you move there?
We moved there when I was about 3. My sister was born there. She came home from the hospital straight to the house on June Lane.
What year did you move there?
I want to say we moved there in about 68. We were like one of the first 5 or 6 houses that were built.
And so you don't have much recollection. You were 3 years old, right?
I was very young when we moved there. Yes.
Where did you live before that?
Laura Avenue. It was over on the north side of town. And I only know that because when we've gone by before, mom and dad have pointed it out and said, "Hey, that's where we used to live." I don't remember it.
You know that the people that live in the house that you grew up in after you
Mhm.
have had little tiny ponies. Have you known that?
Yes, yes. They actually, that was one of the reasons they liked the house is because the house has, it's just like 3 or 4 acres, and the garden came with the house. And that's what they did. They turned that garden into their pasture. Down there where the creek is?
Yes, and I want to interview some of the little ponies. I guess they've moved on or it's been resold or whatever. Haven't seen the ponies in a while, but I want to interview the ponies and ask, have you drunk from the creek when it's flowing, when there's some decent water in it? Do you go down there? Do they let you go down there to drink the water in the creek? Because seems like that would be a thing to do, a thing that horses, little ponies might want to do.
That should. I think every kid that grew up out there has had a drink out of that creek. We
You
we used to we had there were Tarzan vines down there. And we would spend many days swinging from one side of the creek to the other on the Tarzan vine. So yeah, you get thirsty, you got to take a drink.
Do you have fond memories of growing up in that? That was maybe an acre of land, more than an acre. What do you think?
It was about 2 or 3, counting the garden.
And so that was only, of course, on the Forsyth County side of the line.
It was no, it was split. There was a telephone pole in the front yard, and that was the Davidson County Forsyth County line.
Putting,
And
putting you on the spot, and there's no right answer. Who were in no particular order? Who were your 10 best friends in that neighborhood?
oh gosh. Well, Charles and Suzanne Kettner, the Kettners were really good friends.
Wait,
Um,
weren't they adults?
no, they're only a year older than I am.
Wait, and they're Charles and wait,
Charles and Suzanne Kettner, they go to Friedberg Church.
are they brother and sister?
They're twins.
Where did they live?
On Friedberg Church Road, across from
Oh,
the Snyders. But they
ooh.
always came down into Friedberg Estates. They would ride their bicycles or their mini bikes or whatever.
Boy, I'm gonna hope to interview them because, ooh, that's good. So it's Charles and what's his sister's name?
Suzanne,
Charles.
Charles and Suzanne, and I'm still friends with them. Let's see, Pam Dennis, Tracy Gower, Denise Chenard, Tracy Cantrell, Bert Lohr, Daryl and Kathy Edwards, Jeff and Sheila Kennedy, Jeff Skidmore, Tony Hartman. It was
That's
perfect
glorious.
because
That is glorious. I want to yeah, when you mentioned Charles and Suzanne, I wonder if they were there was a Halloween, maybe not a Halloween, but a group of us, maybe you were in the group, went strolling up into that Candlewood, went into that little neighborhood, maybe 100 feet, maybe 300 feet, not too far. And the dog in the yard came out, and we weren't throwing rocks or anything. The dog came out and I was on a bicycle, nipped my heel, drew a little bit of blood. And my dad is the nicest guy in the world, was the nicest guy, is the nicest guy in the world. He's second to your dad, by the way.
was sweet.
We went up there and he chatted with the owner of the dog. And again, he didn't threaten or do anything. I can't even remember what he said, but he wanted to be accountable. Your dog bit my son, and I'm just keeping it real. And the guy said, "Thank you, sir." And within a day or 2 or 3, that dog was deceased. And my
Oh
dad
my
didn't. My dad, they
goodness.
put that dog down. And I wonder if that was Charles and Suzanne, because it was either Charles and
No,
Suzanne or it was the next door neighbor of them, because that was,
it was not Charles and Suzanne. Their dog was Tuffy, and it was a collie, and Tuffy was awesome. No, Tuffy would have never done that.
but I was on bad terms with that neighborhood after that, because I
Well,
was,
now I will tell you, they had aunts and uncles and cousins that lived on Candlewood, so it could have been one of them, and their grandparents lived on Candlewood.
yes, I guess it was the son that was the dog owner's son. I think he knew me after
Wow.
that, and I think we were on bad blood after that. I didn't venture in that neighborhood much. That was bad times. I think he wanted to fight me once or twice after that. But anyway, why did you move away in '84? What were you doing in '84?
I got married.
And where did you move to?
Clemens, not very far away. Frybridge Church Road or Frybridge Road. Yeah,
I'm
just off of Freeburg, actually.
I'm familiar with that area, that road.
You know those A-frames?
Say that again.
The A-frames at the end of Frybridge?
I
That's where we were.
You just called my bluff. I know speak of English.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, where do you live now?
Um, I live in Lexington, Reedy Creek.
Okay,
So
so you're
it's
not too
maybe
far.
5 miles down the road from where I grew up.
And do you have any reason? Do you have any friends or acquaintances still in Friedberg Estates that you ever visit or need to visit or think about visiting?
Well, I'm still real good friends with Pam, Pam Dennis. We still get together. Pam, Suzanne Kettner, and I, we'll get together, go out to eat, just go to a concert, whatever. We still do that. I do see Tracy once in a while. My grandson goes to the Salem Baptist Day School,
Wait, you're
and that's where
25. You can't
Tracy
have a
works.
grandson. That's illegal.
He's precious.
How old is your grandson?
He will be 9 this year.
And that means you have either a son or a daughter.
I have a daughter. Yeah.
Woohoo!
I started early.
Well,
Gotta remember, I got married in 84. So
you were 1 year old, I think, at that time. 1 year old.
yeah,
Where does your daughter live?
she is off of Stratford Road.
And do you have any what's the good question? Yeah, what's the furthest that you walked? Because Daryl Edwards and I and Jeff and Mark Draper, we would go out into the hinterland a little bit. And back then you could go quite a ways. Did you have one of your friends that you would ever stroll or I guess hike, for lack of a better word, into, I guess it was behind your house? How far would you go back there? Because you had a farm behind your house, correct?
We would, there was a lot of woods up there. We would go quite a ways. We'd walk up the creek actually and just go until we got tired and turn around and come back.
That way you would go as
And
far as
then
what?
as far as we could till we got tired. And then we could just turn around and come back.
That's
And
not like
we would
300 feet.
also, well, I mean, now this you'll understand. We would cut like down behind Candlewood and go out that way over to Kingsland South. Do you know where that was? Off of Central Road.
What is Kingsland South?
It's the neighborhood that was on Central Road.
Okay, so on Central Road is Kingsland South.
That's what we called it back in the day.
Well, but it's still got to be Central Road, right?
It is Central Road. I don't know that's Kingsland South. There's a lot of new houses out there
So
now.
that was an even newer development than ours, correct?
It was at the time, it was.
And oh, baby, so that does beg the question, but do you ever remember going in that vicinity when it wasn't there?
I do not.
I want to know, see, I need to ask my mom
But
when they built that, because I have a vague recollection of them doing their various,
well,
flattenings of land and smoothing and building up and so forth, but I couldn't tell you what year it was.
well, now if you remember on Freeburg Church Road, I don't even know what they call it now. It's like Zinzendorf
Yeah, yeah,
Lane, and
yes.
I don't know what the neighborhood.
Oh, and so you have this series of north-south, north-south off roads like Zinzendorf and like Central Road that just kind of, and you can, I haven't looked at a map recently of it, but I can imagine it just being a long, winding, straight road featuring, as most roads are, featuring a whole series of quarter mile at most off branches. But it's just it's very isolated nevertheless. In other words, Friedberg Road is kind of by itself, right? I mean,
Right,
you can
right.
get there via Old Salisbury, you can get there via 150, you can get there via Ebert, but otherwise, that's kind of it.
That's yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can come in the other end on Fry Bridge.
Right, Friedbridge, right. But
But
that's
but
basically,
you're right, that's it.
I mean, but Friedberg by that time has ended, and that's kind of the end of Friedberg. The other end of Friedberg effectively is 150 or Old Salisbury. Devae Tharpe, you're the best. Forget the rest. You're a wonderful second guest on Friedberg Comes Alive. Thank you.
Thank you.